Welcome back to Absolute Comics. My name is Benny. That is Sal. And Sal, it's the first official episode of Absolute Comics in 2024.
True.
Today's episode is brought to you by one of our sponsors, Gamer Subs. They sell waifu shirts, waifu cups, and great drinks that you can be drinking. Right now, they've got the Jujutsu Kaisen drink that they came out with, which is really good. It's their newest one. You can get shaker cups with the Jujutsu characters on it. Aha! I said it right the second two times. Dad's giving me a thumbs up in the background. And you can also go to our sponsor, us. We created it. This hot sauce this is the first flavor we have. And once this sells out, we'll be doing this one again with a much hotter flavor. It's great to put on things like pulled pork, put it on your turkey sandwich. It's a more of a spreadable hot sauce as opposed to just like dab, dab, dab kind of thing.
Oh.
So, all right, those are our two sponsors of the day. Sal and I were talking off the air about, we got a few topics here. We're going to go through them. And Sal, I got to ask, did you read Green Lantern? Okay, cool. We're going to talk about Green Lantern today. We're going to talk about, I guess, hype on Ultimate Spider-Man because we don't got much to talk about with that because it's not out yet officially.
Ultimate Spider-Man. Oh, the book. Oh, my God. It comes out tomorrow. Yes.
Did you forget?
I did. I did.
I loved your facial reaction on that. Oh my God, it comes out tomorrow.
It's like cartoon, movie, video game. What's happening? Oh, the actual comic book from Jonathan Hickman. Yes.
We can talk about that a little bit. And I haven't read many comics for the last week. I'm not going to lie. It was the last week of my vacation, and I decided not to read any manga or comics. It's not, and Sal, you could probably vouch. It's not that reading comics or manga or watching stuff for work is work. I enjoy doing it. But when you're reading it, even if it's your personal read, your brain still kind of thinks about how it would translate to work.
Oh, yeah.
I can't break away from it. So for the last week, I've been waking up and playing Street Fighter.
Fair. That's fair. I mean,
So
honestly, not that reading Green Lantern was work, but I rarely sit down and go like, I got to read these comic books. Like it's really rare that happens nowadays. And so I did, but it was a pleasure, thankfully, but it wasn't wasn't the same thing as like recreation.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that next, but I want to continue the conversation we were having off the air before this started.
Yes.
And for those who are wondering, last week was a return of weekly poll. It might be another year, but it'll come back again.
One day.
One day. This is the Absolute Comics 2024.
That's right.
We were talking about Deadpool 2, and we were talking about what ruined it. What ruined Deadpool 2.
Yeah. I mean, and that's being very, clickbaity, but I should say, Deadpool 2 was fun. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as Deadpool 1.
Well, I think it's less to do with the kid actor that you said you didn't like.
Yes, he's awful.
Or because Deadpool 1 was a novelty. Came out of nowhere. It wasn't supposed to exist.
Right.
And Ryan Reynolds was great in the role, and you didn't think he was going to be.
No.
Deadpool 2 was like, okay, he's just doing it again. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I think that's why it wasn't as good.
Yeah. That's fair. Okay.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Deadpool 3 will be amazing and 2 will just suck. And if that's the case, then, it was the kid.
Yeah, I mean, like, because there's a lot of things that I liked about Deadpool 2. I liked the the costume changes, the Cable inclusion, the time travel story. There's a lot that I like, and the heart, like the moral of it. It's just that if Julian Dennison wasn't the second lead, I think it would have been a stronger picture because I think Dennison sucks. But like otherwise, I think it's a pretty fun movie. But I still like Deadpool 1, and I think part of it is like Deadpool 1, like you said, how it's like a novelty. It certainly was in the scope of the X-Men franchise, because the
superhero movies in general.
That's true. It was not an MCU movie.
Right. Yeah. It was not an MCU movie, and it wasn't like Boys where it was the anti-MCU movie. Yes. It was just, what if we let you have an R rating and do Deadpool right? What is it going to look like? Exactly. That's what that was. It was a novelty. Yeah. We never saw a top-tier superhero. I'm calling Deadpool top tier. Top-tier A-list superhero get a movie like that.
Yeah. No, it was a fun movie. And very much like counterculture to like the X-Men franchise and the MCU. It was a completely different thing, but it also seemed familiar and had the similar ideas. You can't say Deadpool 1 or 2 is devoid of like meaning and themes, and that it is just some excuse for Ryan Reynolds to make like a vanity project or even like a gore fest. Like it's hard R. What are they going to do with it? No, it's just letting the character be and giving him a conservative enough budget where it didn't get out of control. The movie could be what it is, make its money and more, and entertain. That's all I ask for from these guys. Yeah.
So, all right, that's just I wanted to kind of put that on the film because I know a lot of people like to bring up older movies, and I was like, well, we're literally talking about one. It might as well be in the podcast.
Right, we're talking about Deadpool too, yeah.
But let's talk about Green Lantern. You finally read it. So I'm going to spoil 1 through 6 just to kind of this is open ground now. 7 dropped today, so
I didn't get a chance to read it, but I did read 1 through 6.
Tomorrow is when I kick off actually reading comics again. So I got a new Microsoft Surface to try and learn digital art because I've been doing all my sketching for so I was like, let me go digital, and I got it, and I'm like, what is happening? What is this? My arm is broken, so I gotta like learn digital art from scratch, I guess.
Right on, yeah.
So, that's what I was doing this morning, and instead of reading Green Lantern. Okay, so what is your take? Because you're not a big Green Lantern fan, right? You like the franchise, you like them overall, but you're not going to read everything.
I do not. I'm not a regular Green Lantern reader. And
who is your favorite Green Lantern? Is it John Stewart from the cartoon?
I do love him in the cartoon, but I find that he's lacking in the comic books as comparison. Like, I think that they try, because John Stewart, like him or leave him, is one of the most recognizable Green Lanterns because of that cartoon. Like, most people know of Green Lantern as John Stewart because of the cartoon. And it's just the nature of the beast. It's how multimedia works. I think I'm partial. I mean, I want to say as a 90s kid that Kyle Rayner is my favorite Green Lantern, but the fact is, like, I don't really have a favorite Green Lantern. Like, there's no Green Lantern where I was like, that's my Green Lantern. Theoretically speaking, Kyle may have been the one I read the most when it was actually coming out. But even then I was like,
right.
There is no Green Lantern for me that I like really, really root for.
Kyle's been basically crapped on for the last 7 years. Like,
since John showed up,
gave him his own direction, and he did a cool thing with the White Lantern, and then he just
but my point about John is just like in the comics, they're trying. Like, they have tried since DC recognized, oh my God, everyone loves or at least knows John.
Yeah,
we need to elevate him. The stories have not been fantastic.
No,
they certainly haven't. Yeah, and they have not aped off of the cartoon. Like, what do I like about John? Everything from the cartoon. Do that. And part of the problem, I think, and I hate to say this, but I think it has a lot to do with Dwayne McDuffie. Like, I think that because the reason I love Static, but I don't love the new Static.
That's true.
I think it's just Dwayne McDuffie wrote Static and John Stewart, and those are my favorite versions.
I could see that, yeah.
Like, I think it's just Dwayne's effect, which means I need to, at some point, go back and read.
I was a little worried where you were going to go with that.
I got to tell you, I think there's a correlation between these two characters that I do not like. No, there's nothing about that.
I was like, where are we going with this? Is this...
No.
Did Sal finally snap?
Yeah, I just lost it. No, I do. I genuinely think, because Dwayne McDuffie is like a great writer who got the characters, who understands character. Yeah, I genuinely think it's just Dwayne's effect that makes me.
I could see that, because there's periods where I liked the character when it was being written by a certain person. Like, I love Jerry Dugan's Deadpool.
Yes.
Since Jerry Dugan's Deadpool, I don't feel we've had Deadpool at that level. Deadpool,
and there's tons of people who say the same thing about Joe Kelly's Deadpool. Like, there is my Deadpool is Cullen Bunn's Deadpool.
Like, I'm a fan of Daniel Way and Jerry Dugan. Those are the two I like. Those are my Deadpool stories.
Yeah.
But it's just, different than Rick Remender's Agent Venom versus the people who picked it up afterwards. Like, it really wasn't the same anymore.
That's right. That's right.
And that's always my constant argument with a lot of the fans who are like, no, Batman never ends. Okay, but what's your favorite Batman? Because that one did end. Like, even Tom King's run, because everyone, and like Scott Snyder is probably my favorite Batman run in recent years. Yeah. It ended, and he acted different in Tom King's run.
100%.
That ended, he acted different. And right now in Chip Zdarsky's, he has a different way he acts.
I hate to tell you, I think my favorite Batman run is Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo's run. And I was super hard on it when it was happening. But in retrospect, easily the best.
Oh, look, I know it's more of a recent run, and everyone's like, no, you got to pick a 90s run. You got to pick a... No, Scott Snyder's run is my favorite Batman. I will stand by that. That is my favorite Batman portrayal.
I think so. I mean, I loved
Chip. I think Chip is coming in a close second, but I stand by my statement. It's all going to come down to what the excuse is for Zernar.
Chip beats Tynan for me in a big way.
Yes. Well, Tynan just kept trying to do big things. That was the problem.
And I want to say that Josh's was one of my favorite runs, but it's so short. It's like people even leave it off of lists. So it's like, does it even count? He's doing a lot of work.
I'm pretty sure it was just one arc.
I think you're right. I think it was like one arc. Yeah.
I think he had a good tone for it, and you can tell that tone's coming back in Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin is his Batman arc. Like
Yeah.
that's the run. And you
That's
can
the
tell
run.
like that's what Josh wanted to tell a story with Robin in it. Like he was not comfortable in the Batman solo series. He would rather tell a
Well,
story
he
about
told the story
Batman and
about
Son.
Robin and gave him a team and put him on Lazarus Island.
He
And it
did
was
that
a reason.
Robin book. Exactly. Yeah.
So
No.
he understands Robin. So putting him with Batman's a great combo.
Yeah, no. Josh created a Todd McFarlane figure and then left. But yeah, no, I need to say Alan Grant, Norm Brayfogle, that run is silly and it's a fun like bridge between post-crisis and pre-crisis. Like there's Batman will smile. He'll make a joke, but it's not like a self-referential subversive joke like Snyder would make Batman tell. You know, it's very like it feels kind of Silver Age. But I can't say it's my favorite. I do love seeing a good Norm Brayfogle Batman though. But Capullo did the same thing. It basically was like, I love Alan Grant, Norm Brayfogle's run. And then Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo were like, and let's do that, but modern. Boom. It's great. Anyway.
And Arabish, you can pick Batman Universe as your favorite because I think
Batman Universe!
We would all love to see Bendis do a proper Batman line, but
I think easily. No, Batman Universe is my favorite run of Batman.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it as my favorite, but I will say it's in my top 3 because I feel like Batman Universe, the way that Bendis portrayed Batman was between dark and gritty, serious Batman, but like not like brave and the bold, goofy Batman.
No,
I feel like he got a perfect middle ground of those two portrayals.
Completely. All punctuated by Darrington's phenomenal addictive style. I love that run. It is a crime that it never got a sequel, though I'm glad it wasn't like undermined by a lousy sequel.
I stand by my statement. I feel like DC dropped the ball by not having Tom King write Superman and Bendis write Batman. They were just on the wrong books.
That said, at least they did it. You know, like you got a Tom King Superman book called Up in the Sky, which is arguably the top 5 best Superman original graphic novels ever made. And you have Batman Universe, which is arguably one of the best top 5 original graphic novels of Batman in the last 15 years.
Which proves the point, though, Sal.
Well, I know, but that doesn't mean that they'd be great on a like 100-issue run.
Okay, yeah.
You know, although I would love to see it.
It's probably easier to come up with a 6 to 10 issue. I mean, Tom King has proven it with the amount of maxis he's done that are good. Like I know a lot of people like forget Killing Time exists, but I loved Killing Time.
You know, I never finished Killing Time. I got to read that.
It's so good.
Like the first 4, and I was like, "This is cool." I'll wait.
And it's that kind of thing reminds me, like Tom King would have been great if he just did a bunch of 12-issue Batman stories instead of trying to do this 100-issue sprawling.
Oh, yeah. I still occasionally I'll like drop back in because I have become like a big ass Tom King fan, but like I still can't. I can't abide the Batman run. Like every time I drop,
stand by my statement with the Batman. The Batman run's just literally double the size it needs to be. If it was 50 issues, nice, tight, compact, I think it would have been. Everyone's favorite run, period.
And certain things that happen. You know, I know Tom's very salty about Gotham Girl never really catching. Like that was a character that like no one really resonated with. Nobody liked that character.
Well, they ended up killing her off in the Task Force Z run.
I mean, that's her fate. Yeah. You know, like you invented a character whose sole purpose is if she uses her powers, she'll die. What other story ending do you have for that?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you've just written Supergirl. Oh, right. You wrote one of the best Supergirl stories of all time. You know, Gotham Girl sucked so that Supergirl could fly. Like, that is...
I was like, Gotham came back in Task Force Z and Gotham Girl, and I don't remember if they died or they finally, like, were out. Like,
yeah, I read, like, some of that and was like, pass.
Look, the issue with it, and I stand by this, is that it was just sloppily put together.
Yeah, it was.
Like, because it came together so beautifully, but it just felt like Matt Rosenbaum. It feels almost like he had a 6-issue. It's the same problem. He had a 6-issue run, and DC was like, "Can you make it 12?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can make it. I can double that easy." Because it was just so all over the place at the beginning.
Very much. No, it's very all over the place.
It just came together so beautifully at the end.
Probably because he had the ending written already.
Yeah, because like the last 3 issues felt solid. They were on point. The story came together. Everyone was in character. But like 9 issues, like there's like a 4-issue segment in the middle with like you could just pull it out and you wouldn't even know.
That's exactly what happened. You know that's what happened. He wrote 6. They were like, "Can you make it 4?" He's like, "Okay." He just pushed the last 3 to the end and then plopped in a little mini arc.
Because they found like an extra group in the middle that just got removed. And it's like, well, just remove that story. Like,
yeah, just cut that. Just skip. Yeah, just tell your readers, like, you know, skip from page like, you know, 47 to page 82 and you're good. But
anyway, Green Lantern, you didn't read it for nothing. Let's talk. What do you think about Hal's return to traditional? Because we haven't had Hal like this Oh God, since New 52.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, what about the Grant Morrison run?
He wasn't on Earth.
Wasn't he? He
No,
started on Earth?
he started on Earth. He goes into space. The Dark Stars recruit him. He loses the
Oh,
ring. He
yeah.
becomes a Dark Star.
Right. Okay.
Right. So like, and then before that was the DCU where he got the gauntlet and long hair, and everyone thought he was a woman with the artwork.
That's bizarre. I don't even remember that.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I can show you that.
Yeah, please, because I don't know what the hell that is.
But like we haven't had this. Like he's just back on Earth, just dealing with Hal Jordan stuff in a long time.
No. Well, that's fair. For me, like, this is very much like what I expect from a Green Lantern run. It is elevated entirely by the art from Zermanico. Zermanico's art is great, and you
Oh,
know
it
it,
sells
you
it so
love
well.
it from his work with Josh Williamson on I want to say Justice League Incarnate, but it might have been Infinite Frontier. It was Infinite Frontier. But
got it right here.
Zermanico stuff, so good. Yeah, let's see what Hal did.
That was the promo art.
Oh yeah, DCU. Oops.
And then there was, and then this is what he looked like out of it.
Oh no.
It didn't last long.
I would not have done that.
It did not last long at all.
Yeah, there's a good reason for that. That sucks. I mean, like, that looks like what they did with Dr. Fate in the 90s, where they just made him Fate, and he had like they moved the Ankh logo to his tattoo over his eye, and he's just screaming, and he's got biceps, and just looks like a lunatic. Fate. It's like no one's reading your book.
Could you
no one cares.
imagine? Who's the guy that just started as him?
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, can you imagine Pierce Brosnan with the tattoo over his eye, just like Fate?
Yeah, no, he dies, right? And then he comes back to life, and he's like, okay, now I'm gonna kick ass. And it's like, dude, you're like a 75-year-old Irishman. There's no way you're gonna kick ass. But yeah, so I liked it. I'll say this right off the bat. It's easy to follow. It's a lot of fun. The characters are consistent and entertaining. But I don't connect with the Hal. I don't care about his struggle. I'm just not there. You know, like I read it, and I will say this: it's an easy read. The characters are sympathetic and fun.
Yep.
The art is phenomenal, and the story is easy to follow, but also still engaging. You know, it's like fun, genuinely like interesting story. It isn't like terribly out there, which I'm not necessarily looking for, you know, but it's also not so simple that it makes it look stupid. It
Right.
is a very fun book. It's just that I don't care.
Ooh.
I just don't care about Green Lantern. Like I'm not there for him.
Because what I liked about it is that they brought back a lot of the old stuff, but they
Carol, the company, Ferris Air.
but they didn't do a thing where they were just like, let's ignore everything that happened. No,
throw it all away.
Carol's got nothing to do with him. Ferris Air wants nothing to do with him. He's got to fight his way back into that.
Sinestro's here, but Sinestro's in a different place than he was from Dark Crisis. Like, it makes sense.
They moved and that's what I think I liked about it is they've moved everyone forward. It's okay. We're bringing Hal back to Earth, but only because that's where he naturally came from. He would go back to Earth eventually.
Well, there are a lot of most Green Lantern stories from his like inception to now were on Earth.
Yeah,
and arguably the most beloved are when he was on Earth. Like I'm actually genuinely surprised that Barry appears in this more than Ollie, who also has a great run, and you should read that as well.
Yeah,
but like
covering that soon.
It's great, but yeah, I appreciate it, and I think that if Zermanico didn't draw it, I would immediately dismiss it. I think it is I can see Zermanico puts the book into an ideal circumstance where I can only see the good. And there is no bad. There is no bad. It's not like it's inconsistent or it's derivative or the dialogue doesn't work. I will say the only thing I can actually criticize the book for, and the lettering overall is great, but the establishing narration lettering, where it like tells you what the locations are by using that like classic comic book font, sucks. I just don't like it.
Okay.
It's what I call the Bada Boom font, because I think the font was called Bada Boom or something derivative like that. But it's just this like very like balloony, cartoony, like, 1 month ago, or like, Ferris Air. And I'm like, you don't need that. I don't know what the purpose is. Like, are you trying to make me think of old comic books?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. I'm enjoying this.
Right. Okay.
And the lettering overall, like the dialogue balloons, like the placement of the letters, the font choice for text is all great. That lettering for me, I'm like, get out of here with that. But otherwise, I like everything about it. But again, I was just like, not that I was, and it was not a slog. The other thing is, I could see myself continuing to read this book. This is an easy book to read. This is the easiest book. This is the easiest book I've ever picked up without wanting to.
It
You know what I
doesn't.
mean? Like
You would think it would have a huge barrier for entry with the history of the Green Lanterns at this
100%,
point.
and it's not. Everything that I think about, everything I think I know about Green Lantern is there.
Yeah. And they
Right?
don't, and then anything they want to add from the old stuff, like say Red Lanterns, they
Boom.
basically explain it as it's going, so you know what's happening.
But even then, like if I know anything about Green Lantern, I probably also know something about the emotional spectrum. I've certainly seen God, I can't remember his name, the Red Lantern cat.
Oh, Dexter, yeah,
Dexter, thank you. Like I've seen Dexter, so like I know what a Red Lantern is. I mean, and
yeah,
I'm being charitable. My point is about the like most one-dimensional, like bottom of the barrel, like last person across the finish line reader of comic books being like, I think I know about the cat and he heaves blood like the cat does. Like
yeah.
everything that is Green Lantern is there, and it fits. It doesn't seem like it's tacked on. No one is like going for nostalgia bait. No one's going for like let's replay the hits. It is
Right.
its own story.
Which is what I thought they were going to do
yeah.
at first when the Manhunter armor showed up. Yeah, I
You
was
know,
like,
Manhunter armor. See, that's funny. The Manhunter armor, I was like, oh, cool, Manhunters, but like used only for this one specific story purpose. And the thing that I appreciate is that like I know so many stories in comics today with so many writers today who are, very aware of themselves. They're very meta about their stories, and they're so like beholden to the format and to the system of writing that like they have to follow these tangents. Like you could have done an arc about the Manhunter armor because the Manhunter armor was brought up. Like
yeah,
we put this in here, but where did it come from? Who gives a shit where it came from? Not me. All that matters is Hal turns it into a ring because it's made by the Guardians. That's enough. That's all I want from it. Now, maybe an arc or two down the line, they could answer that question of like, where did the armor come from?
yeah. Why is it here?
Why is it here? Are there more? That kind of thing.
Well,
Sure.
I like that he's doing that right now. Jeremy Johns is doing, not Johns. Is
Adams.
it Johns? Adams, yeah. Jeremy Adams is doing that thing where it's kind of like he's not planning for a short Green Lantern run. He's obviously planting the seeds for like a 20, 30 issue run.
You could do 50 issues and I could feel the story of like, okay, like, yes, like I could see 20 issues from now, Hal and Carol actually having like a genuine friendship, and
Yep.
then him sneaking a kiss and her liking it, and that complicating her relationship with the other guy, and like and having the reader go like, oh no, like I want Hal to be with Carol, but he's right about how he should stay away from her, and this other guy is not a bad person.
Yeah.
So like I feel bad for him. Like that's
Like Paul. No,
yeah, like yeah, who doesn't love Paul? The greatest new character of the last century. Paul from another universe who will definitely not turn into a bad guy that was actually some kind of a like classic Spider-Man villain in the next arc. Like when some other
those
writer
are wondering,
takes
it's a
over.
Spider-Man joke that has been ongoing for the last like 2 years in this
Literally,
Spider-Man
like
run.
you can't talk about Spider-Man on the internet without some jackass showing up and going, Paul, though. Great. I can't wait for that. But no, I like the other guy, but like that's a 50 issue run kind of thing. You
Yeah.
can't fast track that. I could see them shoehorning it, like issue 9. Hal and Carol kiss, and it really screws things up. And then we find out like this guy is actually a manhunter or something. I don't know. But
I mean, I would like that. On one hand, I don't want him to be anything special. On the other hand, I'd like it to be like, yeah, he's just a villain. He's just,
right.
It turns out he's a villain.
It's Kilowog's spirit in the body of a man.
So,
you know?
Let me go. There's 4 key points I want to talk about that
Please.
came up in the run. Okay. How one, because these are the 3 of them are big changes and one's just a fun moment. But
right.
One, how do you feel about Hal making a ring out of all that? Like he made his new ring to get us back to normal.
Exactly. Because here's the thing.
And they didn't even really explain the ring. That's part of the whole point of it now. I don't even know how this thing works. I just made it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, okay. So again, I knew about Green Lantern. I read classic Green Lantern stories from like the Silver Age when I was a kid. But like the Green Lantern that DC made for me is Kyle. And the conceit of Kyle is everything that came is old and busted. There are no more Green Lanterns. There's one Green Lantern. and he has a ring, and that yellow crap is gone, and he can just do whatever he wants, but he's an idiot, and that's his limitation. Cool. Like, and that's basically what we're getting with this. So like, I'm very familiar with the premise of Green Lantern is alone. He has a ring. The limitations are gone, and he's only limited by his own ineptitude. And I'm like, yes, that is Green Lantern for me. That is what DC made for me to be Green Lantern. I'm on board. I'm sure they will reveal that like Ganthet is alive and he made the situation the whole time, and like, you know, it's like all
that'd be a cool reveal though. Like what we're getting back to the roots, but how and what's going on.
Exactly. That like it's all part of you know, some kind of like in some elaborate plot to get back to the status quo. I can see that, but I'm thrilled with it, and I'm also thrilled with it because like at the end of the day, you know, as a non Green Lantern reader, if I'm going to read Green Lantern, he better be dressed like Green Lantern. He better make shit with his ring, and I don't want to hear any nonsense about him not having it on.
And don't make the suit CG.
And please make the CG suit not animated.
But I mean, that was my argument back when the other writer made that run about John Stewart, and his idea was like, what did the Green Lanterns do without a ring? I'm like, that's every indie book. Yeah. How does a regular guy survive without powers? No, I want to see the guy with powers if I'm reading Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, like, to be fair to Thorne in that run, which I admittedly only read some of, I have it. And one day, I swear, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to read the whole thing.
It doesn't end terrible.
I know. I know.
It does go, and I've said this. It does go in a good direction with him becoming this like god of willpower.
But maybe it went a little too long.
It was too much in the beginning of like John's just retired and living on a farm. Thanos is 2 farms over making his soup. Like,
yeah, I am like, I understand the compulsion to do the reluctant hero is off the reservation and doing his own thing. Like, I get it. But yeah, if you're trying to get people excited, you know, you need to. I don't know. You need something else. Like,
a better pitch would have been like John's going to go from the bottom to beyond Hal Jordan, and I would have been.
I mean, that's what it. I mean, now that this runs over, that is the pitch.
That is the pitch, right? But you tell me that,
right?
I'm like, all right, let's see what Thornton's doing with this.
Yeah. Thorne should have like come out and been like, that would have been a good. Where he's like, guys, when this is over, you will not believe how powerful John Stewart can be.
Yeah, like I'm gonna make you. I will. By the time we're done, I'm gonna make you be like never want to see Hal again. I'd be like, okay, I'm on board. Let's see what's happening. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, that's true. But
all right, second.
I mean,
question.
the book should do that itself.
Yeah. Second question.
Yes.
How did you feel about Sinestro's return? And they didn't just give him a ring. He tried to fight for it, and it went totally not the right direction.
I know. I loved it. It was a great subversion. That's how you do subversion in its own way. It's fun. Like, you know, Sinestro's like, I will just make all of Earth afraid enough to conjure a Sinestro ring. I mean, like,
which on paper, I'm like, I see why he would think that's gonna work. Like,
yeah, because Hal just conjured one himself. Like, I get it. So I loved that idea. I also loved the switcheroo where it's like, nope, red ring instead.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, that's cool. All right.
Yeah. I loved the art when the two like robots are fighting the kaiju and they're just going to. As soon as you got to that part, you're like, I know why Benny was like,
yes, 100%. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
I see what Benny was trying to get me to read.
Yeah, but I do get like, I mean, like, I get the idea. Like, you know, I would not have immediately thought, oh, I'll make him a Gundam, but like the audience that this is for, yeah, no, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Okay, that's my second question. The third question that I made. Well, first off, because the third question is the ending of the whole thing. How did you feel about Barry's appearance? Because I loved it, especially the awkwardness with him and Carol.
No, I loved it. Yeah, no, that's what I want from Big Two Comics. I want it to feel like a shared universe where characters can bomb in and out and help each other out, and make it logically work for, you know, each other. Like, Hal had to save Washington, D.C. and Moscow from 2 completely like world-ending events at the same time. He doesn't call Superman, but it also doesn't make it makes logical sense for him to try to do it himself. It doesn't
very in Hal's personality to do that.
Yes. Like, we just watched Barry help Hal solve one problem. Now we can watch Hal solve this problem himself, and it's a bigger problem than the one before. Like, that's great. It was a brilliant move, and Zermanico depicting Barry was great. It looks so good. Yeah, and it makes sense because these are two characters that I never asked to return that are always team up with each other. They're Jeff Johns' favorite effing characters, and they should have stayed dead, and here they are anyway. And I
Yep.
love seeing them together, just being like, hey, we shouldn't be here. We completely made all of our replacements irrelevant. Yay, high five. But now that they are here and they've been here for over a decade or more, I appreciate I'm like, yeah, no. Like it's fun to
But
see them being friends and see Barry. And of course, Jeremy Adams was like kicked off the Flash, so I could see him being like, all right, and here's Barry.
I'm not digging the new Flash run either. The art is just not selling me on the new Flash
Mm.
stuff. But
I think it's crazy.
it's funny because like what happened here with Barry showing up and stuff like that, and also what happened with Nightwing and Tom Taylor, we had the Titans showing up.
Yes.
You're right. This is what this is what comics can do better than manga. The
Right.
giant shared universe where this entirely different character shows up in the book. And it's what I'm loving about Dawn and DC because I feel like they're finally hitting that stride again.
Totally.
And that's what my complaint about Marvel is right now, where Marvel's kind of doing everything in its own pocket.
Mhm,
X-Men, Spider-Man, over here's Moon Knight stuff. Maybe Blade will pop up, but
Yeah.
like it's weird. And that's
Right.
what I like about
They're
it.
relegating their big team ups to like to events.
Yeah.
And even then, but the events aren't wowing me.
But I really love it when I'm just reading, like when I'm reading just regular Miles Morales and Blade and his daughter happen to be here. Because it's
Fair.
a fun surprise.
Yeah.
And that's
I
how
agree.
I felt about Barry showing up in that one. Just like when Wally saved Nightwing in the middle of the end of the Nightwing run, when you're like, what? Wally's here. And then Wally's like, yeah, man, I could just like do all this for you. You know that? Like,
Yeah. No, I love it. I think it's great. It was a really fun inclusion. It was a good use of the character, and I could see that happening more.
yeah, I'm hoping Ollie is the next one though.
Oh yeah, me too.
Now that Ollie's back. I mean, it made sense in the first 6 that Ollie because he hadn't been found yet. He wasn't back on the board yet. So you couldn't really.
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, what? So where is Barry you know what I mean? Like what? Because Wally is Flash right now in the Star of his own book, but like what's Barry doing?
Yeah, I've been wondering that for a while. Isn't Barry just running through the multiverse at the moment, I think?
Right, I thought so, but like after Dark Crisis, I guess like he could be done with that.
In theory.
So yeah, all right.
Like there's a whole segment in the Wally run where Barry takes Iris and they just go on a date for like a day and then they just come back in a millisecond. They're like, who knows what he's doing at this point?
Yeah, he could be doing everything and
Yeah.
more.
So the last question I wanted to bring up, and then I got another comic I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Today's gonna be a comic day because these news articles aren't gonna take us long.
Sure.
How do you feel about that cliffhanger? Because that was when I was like, what is even happening now?
Oh, I was like, oh, that's sad. I liked the idea of Kilowog being depowered and living on Earth, but I also appreciate that like there's a mystery about, or at least like there's a sad reveal about Kilowog, and I'm like, yeah, all right, that's cool. It's sad. I wanted to know more. That was what that cliffhanger. I went, oh, I kind of want to know more.
Yeah, like what? It's funny that they 1-2 punched us because they got us excited by bringing Razor into proper continuity finally.
Yeah,
Because Razor, if you didn't watch the animated series, he's the character that was in the animated series, like Harley Quinn-esque, where
gotcha.
it was made for the show. Everyone loves him, but we haven't had a Green Lantern run where Razor would have made sense to bring in yet.
Totally. So here he is now.
Yes. So that it was
Love
like, oh, Razor! Oh, Kilowog. Like it was that's how it was for me.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. No, that's smart.
So
And I know that like that concern or that issue. We had Josh on the other day, Joshua Williamson, and he was talking about like somebody asked him like when is Maya Ducard coming back? And he's like, I love Maya Ducard. I want to see her come back. I want to do something with her. But like you don't want to shoehorn these characters into things like just because you want to use them, like, or just because you want to see them appear. Like Razor, you don't want to waste Razor. You want Razor to make sense in the story so that like you're excited and you don't like regret wanting to see them.
like Razor showed up briefly, I think during Future State, but that was the question of like, is any of this in canon? Like,
Yeah,
so that was an awkward one. All right,
that's true. That's
the
true.
next question I have, and it's the next comic I want you to read if you're willing. If you have not, are you reading Skybound's Transformers?
Of course, I love Transformers.
Okay, the first arc is ending tomorrow.
I know. It's crazy. I can't believe it. It feels like I just read issue 2, and now it's like it's wrapping up.
What is your okay? I was not on board with reading this at all, but everyone kept saying read it. Everyone kept saying read it. So I read issues 1 through 3 back to back. I love the story. I love what they're doing. I hate the art.
What?
I hate the art.
Oh, that's incredible.
I find the art so cluttered, and it's
yeah.
too descriptive, and it's too much going on with it. And it does a job. It does a good job.
Yeah.
And I understand what he's trying to go for. This isn't me saying that he is doing bad art.
Huh?
It's that I don't like what he's doing because I don't feel there's enough depth to what he's drawing, and he's trying to be very machine-like in his art.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to really show you the transformations and the mechanisms in the ship. And I get what he's going for, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
It's just not working for me.
Okay. I couldn't disagree more. The only to read this book is because Daniel Warren Johnson is writing and drawing it. His writing is on
Oh, his writing is amazing. That is
it's exactly the kind of thing I want from a Transformer story because I rarely do. Like, it's not that I don't like Transformers, but like, it's like, okay, well, I saw the show. I mean,
I watched the show. I've watched a lot of the reboots they've done throughout the generations, and I love the movie franchise. I'm the guy that always says they're not the greatest movies ever. I'm not stupid.
No, right,
They're
right.
popcorn fodder movie, and I like them for that. I just want
100%.
explosions and robots fighting, and that's all I want.
Yes. That's
I mean,
fair.
if you look at my type of anime, it's giant robots fighting and explosions.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I mean, look, that's a proven formula. There's enough people to agree with you, or that's
right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But
so I've never gotten into the IDW Transformers because it was one of those deals where it's like it was just so monolithic.
There was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and when I tried to get into
it,
it was just too much. It was like trying to get into One Piece. But unlike One Piece, where I'm like, you start at chapter 1 and you go to 1,000. It's like Transformers is like, all right, you start here, but now it's going to branch into here, and now you got to watch this over here, and over here's where Megatron goes back, so you got to read that as well.
Dude, yeah, like people want me to read and talk about the IDW Transformers series, and I'm like when is there a easy to follow graphic novel collection of them?
No,
because
I've tried.
That's why I would do it.
There is technically what you're looking for. Hold on, I'll show you because I do know of it.
These are, by the way, these are all franchises I'm like, I get it, but if we cover Turtles, it wouldn't do very well. If we cover Transformers,
if you want to do Turtles and you're willing to go in a little deep with it.
We did the first volume of Turtles, and it did very well, but yeah.
The end point you want to get to with Turtles, and you can call it good.
Right?
Issue 50 is the death of Shredder.
Okay.
So you could do 1 through 50, and it's what everyone expects.
That's fair. Okay.
51 to 100 is like those weird, crazy, like other things that were created, like the mystical things and all that stuff.
Okay.
And then that's when Eastman left, and everyone has been shitting on Sophie Campbell's run ever since.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah. Okay.
But I'm just telling you where it is. Like I finished my run at 50 with the death of Shredder, and I was like, and that's it. I'm not doing Turtles anymore. Like, here's a Shredder beginning to ending.
An ending.
Done.
Right. Okay, cool.
And no one knows the other enemies. They only know Shredder. So
that's true.
This is all I need.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
I'll tell you right now, Volume 1 does great. Volume 2 is a little lackluster, but then you're going to start going into City at War, where Shredder brainwashes Leo. And that's just amazing. And then you're going to go through like 1 or 2 more lackluster kind of stories. And then you start going into the Krang War.
Krang War, yeah.
And that's where the death of Donatello happened. So you're going to have clickbait up until Shredder.
Right. Okay.
And then it's kind of like, there's not a lot of clickbait that happens after that. So.
Fair. Okay. Yeah.
Greg says, happy to talk about it with you.
Great. Yeah, just send me all the Turtles. I'm very excited. I did end up getting the reprint of the original run, the Eastman Laird, like 80s Turtles.
Ooh, I got that upstairs.
Yeah, it's the big one.
I don't know if you bought it or you got it gifted, but I bought it. Okay. Yeah, I got it upstairs because I have all those amazing volumes of the Turtles, and then I put that one at the front of it. I was like,
yeah, because that's the beginning. That's I've thought about doing that. I'm like, we should cover just the original Turtles because it goes off the rails almost immediately.
Yep. Okay, so then I don't need to ask you to read Transformers. We'll talk about the finale of Arc 1 next week.
Yeah,
let's talk about the topics Dan did all this work getting us. Okay,
yes, let's do it.
All right, so news-wise, James Gunn talks about Peacemaker being brought into the main canon since it's technically a part of the old DCEU, stating, I have a way in, it won't be confusing. He's halfway through writing Peacemaker Season 2, but multiple cast members from the show will appear in upcoming series about Amanda Waller. We all knew he was going to bring in Peacemaker. There's no way he wasn't, and it's going to be something as simple as like Peacemaker walks out the house and the world changes around him, and he's like, oh, all right, and that's it.
I mean, maybe. I don't know if Peacemaker translates to being like a multiversal traveler, but
No, I'm saying like the world's gonna warp around him, and he's not even
Right.
gonna acknowledge it. He's just gonna keep going.
I think if James Gunn has an idea, if he's willing to admit, I've got a concept here, I trust him. Do it.
But he says it won't even be confusing, which is why I'm like, okay.
I'm like, really? Good luck. Like I
think
hope
he's gonna have Peacemaker get transported over, like kidnapped and brought to the other universe, and then
No, I don't think he's gonna. I think he's gonna be like. I think it'll open with like Earth 2.
it'll just say what planet he's on this whole time.
Yeah.
Because by having the multiverse, you can have some characters reoccur. We could have Waller come back and things like that. But
They're doing a Waller show, so it's like, and it's starring that universe's Waller. I mean, they could say that she's the Waller of the new universe, but
Waller could be multiversal.
Yes, Waller.
She could be the reason.
It depends. I don't know what comes out first, Waller or Peacemaker? Because if they establish like Waller has a Deadpool-esque time or multiversal watch thing,
yeah,
then we're like, now we got something.
We'll see.
But even then, I think that's too esoteric for the audience. I don't think that the audience is interested. I mean, like, I think that if you start saying multiverse to the audience today, they're gonna be like, get the hell out of here.
I don't even think they're going to mention the multiverse, but they do need to move over. According to Dan from behind the scenes, he thinks that Waller is before season 2. I think that is confirmed.
So yeah, I mean,
I think Waller's in production and season 2 of Peacemaker's being written. So
yeah, so I'm like, I think you could definitely set up like Waller has access to or knowledge of the multiverse. And so she's like, and she has like, the universe is going to end. We need to leave, like so the whole plot of Waller is like, she's going to bring together like a task force that is all facilitating her sliding into another reality.
All right. Next up, we got Marvel is going to be releasing a documentary about the filming of Echo. Do we care?
I mean, like, okay, so
I never watched those things.
I could no. I mean, like, I think that good for them. I am going to watch Echo, which is something I swore I wouldn't do when they first launched Echo, because I was like, why? But now that it's going to be hard R, or at the very least mature rated, Daredevil's going to be in it. They're pulling the Kingpin thing along. They're going to use this show as a foundation for the street level Marvel universe. Like, I'm in. That said, Disney makes very well polished, inauthentic documentaries.
Yep.
Where like everybody got along, everything worked out, everything's hunky dory. That ain't the kind of documentary I'm here to watch.
No, I want to see all the shit behind the scenes. I want to hear Jared Leto gave a rat to Margot Robbie because he was trying to be in character.
Right? Like, I want to see the documentary that they effing paid for and filmed of the making of The Emperor's New Groove. Because they made that as a Empire of the Sun or whatever the hell movie they were making before that. Kingdom Under the Sun, doesn't matter. Point is, there was another movie before Emperor's New Groove. They made a whole documentary about the falling apart of that movie and the new development of this other movie that is not that movie. Release that, you cowards. Like,
but Disney can't let you see through the cracks. That's the thing.
Then what is the point of a documentary? A documentary.
I mean, look at how quick. Regardless of what happened with Jonathan Majors, look at how quick they were like, oh, we're done.
Yeah, you're out.
look at how quick they removed James Gunn and then apologized because they realized that was a mistake.
Yeah.
But it was any kink in the armor, they're out. You're out. Get out of here.
No, completely. It's pathetic and frustrating. And I'm not here to watch that. Like, a documentary with no stakes, with no blemishes, with no seams is a promotional video. Mm-hmm. That is a commercial.
Are we watching Echo in time for next week so we can review it on Monday?
It'll depend. I'm not going to watch the whole damn show.
It's 6. It was only 6 episodes, I thought.
I know, but like, they're not going to be 10 minutes. They're going to be an hour.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to.
We'll talk about however many we can both get in.
When did Netflix launch their Defenders shows? Like, when did like Daredevil come out?
I don't know why.
Oh, I'm just like, it ain't 2015 anymore, man. We can't just like sit down and watch all of
Echo comes out tonight, so we have a week.
Yeah, I know, but I got work. I still edit my shows.
What if it's good? What if it's good?
I mean, look, it's good or bad. Time is still linear. I still gotta watch it. I gotta sit down and I gotta watch it.
We'll talk as many as we both got through by Monday. Okay.
What's that game that came out where
Huston's gonna be like, I watched it all while on my trip.
I don't know what the hell Hudson does. You know what I mean? That kid's got time. He's got no time. He's on the moon. Whatever. Like, you can't trust him.
I'm gonna let him know that's what you think of him. He's on the moon.
Yes, I'm sure he'll take it as a compliment. But like, what's that game that came out that's like you're in a scrapyard, you're collecting like hunks of metal for an unseen
Oh, Lethal
company.
Company.
Yeah, I'm playing Lethal Company now. I don't have time for Echo.
Wait, you are?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Sal, we need to do a round of Lethal Company, you and me.
I'll do one round.
Okay, one round.
This is how much time I have.
Okay.
You know, I'm playing Lethal Company.
I want to play Lethal Company with you.
Yeah.
We don't have to film it, and if we do, it'd be amazing for the channel.
We can record a round of Lethal Company, but
okay. Yeah. If you're playing games, we got to film it. Like,
I know, right? I am, but I can't play tonight. I'm playing with Tiffany.
It's a 4-player game.
I know, but I got, she has off tomorrow, so we're gonna spend time.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's move on to our next topic.
Echo, yeah.
Echo. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about this documentary.
No, I don't care, but make me care. We'll find out.
Okay. For the 40th anniversary, IDW has announced that they are renewing the license for they're basically keeping Turtles.
Yeah, good for them.
Look, IDW ain't doing so hot lately. No. And I think here's my opinion. They lost Transformers. They lost G.I. Joe.
Yep.
They lost all the Hasbro licenses.
Yeah.
They only have Turtles as like they got other books, but Turtles is really the only thing they got that's big.
Yeah. It's
they're not going to let that go.
I mean, it's not up to them. You know what I mean? Like they gotta convince, the turtle, like Nickelodeon, I guess, to let them keep the license. And I'm happy to see that they did because, I think that IDW publishes very good books. They have a great reputation for quality of the printing and the publishing of those books. Like those Turtles hardcovers are so great. And I would hate to see them go the way of the dodo. I don't necessarily want to see like Image get them and then have them fold the Turtles into the Energon universe. You know what I mean? Like
that's my only complaint with Skybound owning the Transformers right now, because it's being rolled into G.I. Joe and the one that Kirkman made. What is that one?
Yes, Void Rivals.
Yeah. So like they're turning it into like a crossover element. Not
it's a universe.
Yeah, that's my only complaint. I like the Transformers just being here.
I mean Transformers, you can read Transformers as its own thing because it's a Daniel.
Well, so far you can. So
yeah, I think I wonder how long Dubbers will be on that book, because like he doesn't need to be part of like a universe anymore. Like Daniel Warren Johnson can just make stuff. Do a Power Bomb was like, here's this, and it's mine, and people loved it, and it sold good. His Wonder Woman Dead Earth was like, it's a Wonder Woman story, but it's like it's his. It's a Black Label book. But yeah, man, I'm happy for IDW.
Up in the third issue? I don't think Duke showed up.
Yeah. Well, if Duke showed up in the third issue, I didn't see it. Maybe I didn't.
Okay, I didn't either. It would have been a background thing then.
I also didn't read it. I don't think I read the third issue.
I read the third. I thought I did.
I read issue 2, but anyway, IDW has made some great stuff, by the way. I should say, like, there's a great G. Willow Wilson book called The Hunger and the Dusk. If you like WoW, like World of Warcraft, if you like fantasy, if you liked Rat Queens, you might love Hunger and the Dusk. That's another great IDW series. Scott Snyder has an IDW book that's really, really cool. It's like if you like horror, his Dark Spaces line is great.
Okay, like I said, they have other things. I didn't want to make it sound like they only have Turtles.
But that's the thing is like no one is like hyped for Dark Spaces Dungeon.
Yeah.
Or if they are, it's because they're aware of it thanks to IDW's like relevance thanks to Turtles. Yeah, no, it's a good idea to keep them. I'm glad they have it. My hope is because the other thing, I think IDW probably achieved that license renewal thanks to Last Ronin. Last Ronin.
Oh yeah, well, Last Ronin too. They got a game in the works right now and things like that.
Video game, sequel, prequel. It's huge.
The sequel's out. The prequel already came out as the origins of it, and now they're doing the sequel. None of it's going to hit the levels of the original Last Ronin, but
no. But it'll allow for Turtles to keep being.
I want to say we can talk about Last Ronin in full at this point. It's been long enough. I want to say props to them for ending Last Ronin, killing Mikey and ending it, because I agree. With how popular that got, they could have very easily been like, and now Mikey's working with the new Turtles and kept that going.
Honestly, I would have been okay with it because of the spirit of the book. Last Ronin is clearly because like Eastman and Laird were inspired by Frank Miller when they made the Turtles in the first place. And one of Frank Miller's most recognizable works is The Dark Knight Returns. Last Ronin was a concept that was originally invented by Eastman and Laird way back in the day. Seeing them carry it over and make this book that's like a big throwback homage to Frank Miller books. The ending of Dark Knight Returns, Batman doesn't die. Like, he pretends to die and then leads the charge for an inevitable sequel that we thought we'd never get and hoped, thanks to
Yeah.
seeing them. But Last Ronin could have ended with Mikey being like, I died. And you're like, yeah. And then like a heart monitor is like, beep. And then he's like, oh, this could be a good life. Good enough. And like, it's Mikey with with new turtles. You could have easily done
that route could have also, I mean, you could have
easily done it.
I do like the last panel on that where he gets to be with the family again.
Yeah, no, great. That is so earned. It's so beautiful. It's so sad. No, it's mad props to them for ending it. You're absolutely right. Your point about them ending it, it's like, it's amazing the amount of restraint they had to be like, we're going to end it. We can still do a sequel, and we will, but here's Last Ronin.
Yeah.
Mike, the original
Last Ronin is gone.
Exactly. I'm in. Like, that's cool. And I hope that we see more like new turtle stuff. Like, I think it's time for a reboot. You know, like,
I agree with you on that. At this point, the comic line has gone on long enough that people like me who have read a good chunk of it, we've dropped off. Yeah. Regardless of liking or hating Sophie Campbell's run and, being another 50 issues and what she did with it, it doesn't matter. I already dropped off before that even happened because they did all the significant shit. Right. You know what I mean? Like, that's basically it.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying like it has to be Shredder again, or it has to be like Krang.
I say do Shredder again, but don't go right to Shredder.
Yeah, like
the 50 issues you get to Shredder in this. In the movie, just do other. The Turtles universe is vast. You don't have to go straight to we don't need the mutant animals again. We don't need Baxter again. We don't need Shredder again. Try something new, and it'll be a huge reveal when those guys show up again.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think if IDW is smart, like, Last Ronin will be the good foot in the door, but like, new turtle, like like reboot of the Turtles, new writer, exciting group of people, really cool hip art. I mean, honestly, I don't want to pull them away from it, but if IDW wanted to do a 6-issue miniseries of an original graphic novel by Daniel Warren Johnson of the Turtles, I would give them $100 for that book. Just saying, Daniel Warren Johnson's Ninja Turtles. That's it. Just G-Dubs and Mike Spicer, Turtles, oversized edition, whatever they want to do. Here's $100.
Let's move forward because we're actually way over time. I mean, that's what happens when we take 3 weeks off. But we got 2 last topics. I'm going to skip over a couple of these.
The show has only been an hour, by the way. Technically, we've only been doing it for just under an hour.
We're just hitting them on. And I know these next 2 topics are not going to be short. That's why I'm like, let's move forward.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Next up, they have officially announced Mandalorian and Grogu getting a movie.
Wow.
Honestly, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
It's such a great show, and I feel like it's already run a good course with it.
Yeah.
The movie's just going to feel like one of those tacked-on movies that gets tacked onto a show. It won't feel like an authentic movie to me.
I think you're right.
And I think, you know what I'm talking about? Like when you're watching a show you love and they come out with that made-for-TV movie. This will not be made for TV.
No.
But you know what I'm talking. The movie just feels awkward because they want to make it so you don't have to watch the show.
Yeah.
And that means that they're going to make it not really tie too strongly into.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it's going to be a replacement for Mando season 4.
Yeah. The best new Star Wars for me when they launched this initiative was Mando season 1.
Oh, straight up.
First few episodes. Season 2 is not as good.
Season 2 feels like they were trying to backdoor pilot a dozen ideas.
Season 2 is the Dave Filoni hour with Dave Filoni and his.
And also, technically, season 2 is like. You got to think they did season 1.
Boba Fett. They did
Boba Fett, where he was kind of in that.
Yeah. Where he
did he
saved
show up
the
in
show.
Ahsoka? I still haven't seen Ahsoka.
He is. I quit Ahsoka after 1 episode.
Okay,
but I don't think Mando's in Ahsoka.
Okay,
I hope not.
I wouldn't be surprised if it turns into Mando's in every Disney Plus Star Wars show. He's just.
I understand why they would do that, but like I also don't want that. I love Mando. I love his relationship with Grogu. I love the element. I love that he did a better Boba Fett show than Boba Fett in the first season. I would have if there'd only been 1 season, I would have been like, hell yes, I'm in.
Yeah.
After season 2 and knowing that Dave Filoni is basically like their go-to like #1 guy.
I mean, I heard rumors that he's replacing Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
It's still rumors, but
yeah, but I mean, like even if they didn't, like Dave's influence is so vast and strong. I'm like, I'm not here for Ahsoka. I'm not here for prequel apologies. I'm not here for that. I'm here for Mando going on fun jobs, like deep cut Star Wars references.
Yeah.
Like
Chat brings up an interesting point that I think is a good way to look at this. Pedro Pascal has gotten crazily popular in his schedule.
Well, he hasn't even been the Mandalorian for a season and a half.
Wait, what do you mean?
He is not physically on set.
Oh, yeah.
So like him doing voiceover, he'll do it.
But what I'm saying is two things. One, his schedule's probably packed, which is why they decided to go movie route.
True.
And two, the cost of him has probably gone way up.
No doubt. Yeah.
Like he went from being like, yeah, you knew who he was, and it was a cool casting, but he wasn't huge.
No.
Now he's huge.
Now he's huge. No. Now he might be Reed Richards.
Yeah.
But
dude, as much as you want to fart on that, I like his acting, and I feel like he could do it. The question is, what direction are they going to give him to ruin it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to see that. That's not Reed Richards. Pedro Pascal's great, and he ain't Reed Richards. Sorry. But I do.
Well, John Krasinski doesn't want to do it, so
I don't want John Krasinski.
But all right, the other topic we have is that Sal, did you know that a DC animated movie Ninja dropped today?
I heard about it today on this show.
For those who don't know, Crisis on Infinite Earths came out today. I saw clips and I thought it was teasers.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was promotion.
Yeah. No, it's the movie. And to go with that, James Gunn confirms that it is not tied to the DCU, which makes sense why this Tomorrowverse is ending so early.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're just not going to tie it in, so just get rid of it and do the new one.
But I'm like, what? It's its own universe.
I mean,
just let it be.
I want to rant and rave about how bad DC's marketing department is again.
Yeah.
But I feel like I do it once a month.
They do give you a lot of opportunities. I mean,
it's like once a month I'm bitching about DC just not telling people this shit exists.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. No,
I know people in the industry watch this show. Why do you give me ammo every month?
Maybe they're mad, or maybe this could be retaliation for essentially James Gunn rendering every project before his launch of Creature Commandos irrelevant.
That's what I thought, because this has to be the most minimal amount of, like, at least with the other ones, if you were in the right niche, you would get some kind of promotion.
You'd know.
Right. I feel like this is kind of like Aquaman, where there was no red carpet, barely any promotion, and they just kind of put it out to die. Yes. And I feel like that's what they did with this. Like, just wrap up all the projects. James Gunn has taken over, and it's over.
Yeah.
Just wrap them up, put them out to die.
That's absolutely what this is. This is just like, if we... It looks bad to shelve it for tax purposes, and we don't want to give the government any more ammunition for ruining, for suing us. So let's just release it and see what people just put it out.
The Tomorrowverse has its fans. I don't mind it. I don't think it's nearly as good as the previous one they did based on the New 52, but it's still good, and there is a fandom for it. So it's not like, oh, no one will ever watch this.
Yeah.
I did see a review on it that said it's basically a Flash movie.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to watch it. Maybe. So I need you to find time to watch all of Echo.
Right.
And this hour and a half movie. Yep. And then also let's go finish Ahsoka and throw that in there too.
Oh, sure. I will not finish Ahsoka. I just won't.
So, yeah.
But I will watch another season of Andor.
Okay. I keep meaning to go watch Ahsoka, but I just don't.
Yeah, I just couldn't care less.
All right.
I've seen it. I watched it. I was like, no. I literally, one of our colleagues watched all of it for his show, and I was like, and he's like, I watched all of Ahsoka. And I go, how many times did Ahsoka walk into a room, say nothing, and then cross her arms? Say something vague and uncommitted, and then leave. And he's like, every single episode, she does it twice. And I'm like, yeah. Now that is and Rosario Dawson's a great actor. That's bad direction.
Well, the problem with Ahsoka is they put her into this place where she's between everything.
Right.
And that's where the fans like her. So it's one of those situations of she can't move forward. And I haven't watched it, so I don't know if it ends with her finally making the decision what she's doing. And chat, you can tell me if she finally makes the decision. It's fine. But I'm feeling like that's just feel like that's where Ahsoka's ended up. Like everyone likes her as this gray Jedi that was never called a gray Jedi.
At this point, for the love of God, make your effing new Star Wars trilogy. Ahsoka saves the Star Wars universe. Like, just so we can get to a point of finality. You know, Ahsoka is in charge of the Rebel Alliance or whatever the hell the new government's called, and she fights the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's your whole movie. It's three movies. She makes a couple friends. They all get together. It's the new Star Wars trilogy is all of Filoni's favorite effing characters, and they all form an Avengers team, and they fight the bad guy, the biggest bad guy that's ever bad guyed. So we can actually, instead of all these like minimal, like, you know, here's a show that's like feels important, but it couldn't be because the budget isn't big enough, and we don't have a movie trilogy, and they're going to be separate. Like, no, just commit. You know, commit to the guy.
I
in
like
the cowboy
Ahsoka
hat.
as a character. I do, and that's why I want to watch it. But
I've never met anybody who doesn't.
Yeah, I mean,
I've literally
I
never
met
anyone who doesn't like Ahsoka.
I think my brother doesn't like Ahsoka as a character, but he still watches the show.
I would never say I don't like Ahsoka out loud, lest I be like punched in the nuts by some lunatic at a Comic-Con.
That's the Star Wars fandom. Yeah. Last thing I'm going to bring up, since we've gone over a little bit, just I want to get your opinions. They announced the next Star Wars movie. We talked about it briefly yesterday.
Oh yeah, the Rey movie.
Rey movie. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, you know, good luck with that.
I agree. I actually didn't mind Rey as a character.
I loved Rey.
I thought Rey was fun. A lot of the issues that everyone had with Rey could have easily been dismissed with single lines in the movie, and I feel like that's the mistake. They were trying to rush her to an ending without even saying something like, "And she trained." Done.
They rushed Rey. Rey is a casualty of all of the bad decisions that were made in those movies.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I don't think we should do a Rey movie. I don't think we should do anything tied to anything that happened in the sequel trilogy. I think you should start a Star Wars trilogy from scratch with a new character and just start it over.
Yes.
So
Dave's already invented like time travel in Star Wars. Just undo them. They were a mistake.
But yeah, all right, that's all I wanted to bring up. So this is Absolute Comics. Sal and I get together every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern to talk about this at twitch.tv/comicstorian. And then it gets uploaded a few days later over to our YouTube channel, Absolutely, where it goes out so you guys can join into the conversation. Thank you so much for 5 years? 5 years, I think we're crossing at this point. Yeah, 5 years of the Absolute Comic Show, which means if you combine it with the 5 years of the weekly poll, we've been podcasting on a weekly basis for about 10 years. Remove the year between the shows.
Yeah. It's incredible.
And Tevye has been here the whole time.
That's very true.
Thank you guys so much. And we will see you next week right here